Good morning, nuts and bolts listeners. Here we are again, yet on another Friday afternoon. Firstly, our apology about last week, Friday. We were hoping that we could pre record the live stream, but unfortunately, that did not work out as planned. Hence, at very short notice, we had to cancel. But here we are again this Friday, and we are going to continue with the theme of goals. And today, our topic is how to stick to your goals. Then we'll have one more topic next week, Friday, on goals. And then in the month of March, we'll be moving on to the topic of coaching. And in April, we'll be talking about communication. So we've got lots of exciting topics coming up. So the last few weeks, we've been talking why setting goals is really important, the benefits of setting goals, and that we really only get to the nitty-gritties of setting goals in the month of February, because we just take time to settle down. So we've identified what goals we want to focus on in the year, what we want to achieve. We've discussed why they really matter to us, that we need to have them have a value congruency, that they really need to be important to us, and that we want to have the goals, that we either achieve goals because we want have pleasure in them, or we want to avoid pain in them. That's unfortunately the way we look at it. And then it's about the framing of the goal. So it's really trying to frame it in a positive way versus I want to stop doing something. So that's all what we spoke about. So let's assume you've got your goal. You intrinsically motivated. It's all just going according to alignment, and it is going well. But how are you going to stick to that goal? I mean, it's early days. You've just set it recently. It's still there, but just fast forward to June, August, October, where we all really start hitting the wobble of being tired, and then December. How are you going to make sure that you stick to that goal throughout that period? And I'm really just looking at the horizon of from now till the end of the year. I'm not even looking at goals to that are have a medium horizon of maybe 2 years, a longer horizon of 5 years. Those will take different motivation and intrinsic and how to stick to them, but still the same principles apply. And I know what it feels like. I mean, I've set goals many a times, knowing that they're good for me, knowing that I should be doing them. So, be it that I want to exercise a little bit more, or perhaps eat healthier, or rest a bit more. We've all got sort of those kind of goals. And then, I don't know, you really want to do it. You've got all the best intention in the world, and somehow the week goes by and you've done very little about it. And then you think, okay, Monday, promise, Monday. I'm really going to start on Monday with this goal. And there's a bit of an excuse on why it didn't work that week. I was super busy, some things happened. There's always a story that comes with it. And if you think about it from a training that I learned, and that's specifically language in the neuro-linguistic programming, we very often look at an equation called cause and effect, where the effect is a small little e, and the e is really often the storytelling, the blame that we give to others, the excuses we make. And that gets us stuck with our goals. And that's how we do not stick to our goals, because we stay in that little level. And then the cause is a big C. And the big C, or a capital C, has to be so large compared to this small e, because that is really the layer where you hold yourself accountable, where you take ownership of the goal. And the minute you can shift from the storytelling, the excuses, blaming others, just not going into a choice, and you're being stuck in there, you get stuck in a what we call a problem box where you just cannot visualize a goal, achieve a goal, move towards a goal. You're literally just going to have a lot of I can't, I shouldn't, and you'll find excuses until you're able to make that shift to taking ownership of it, regardless what is happening around you. And that's one of the key nuggets of actually how to stick to your goals, is to always reassess, where are excuses happening? Where am I actually blaming? What's happening? And the minute you go out of that, you can actually take accountability for it. But that is really something often to look at, because we do struggle to hold ourselves accountable. We are often the least person who can hold ourselves accountable. And again, those excuses come in on why we couldn't do it. Like I say, it was just a busy week, too much happened. From our side, all the power outages. So we've got more than ample cards to draw on why we didn't achieve a certain goal. But if that goal is so important to us and it means so much to us that we really want to do it, you will overcome all of those hurdles and those challenges, those obstacles. You will walk around them, meander around them, hop over them, skip around them. You will find a way to navigate around them. It's like a river, which has these big boulders in the middle of the river. They're there. The river decides how it's going to negotiate its way to come to the end of the stream, which is its goal. Hence, it will flow on the side of it, left, right, maybe over. It will find a new stream that it develops. So if you take that analogy, the river doesn't stop flowing. There's a boulder, I can't do anything now. It becomes very creative. And us as human beings, we do too. We need to as well if we want to stick to our goals. So let's look at 3 strategies for how you can stick to your goals. The first one is be specific with your goal. As simple as it sounds, we often are not able to, in very short, specific terms, articulate our goals of I want ... We don't really are able to. So my recommendation is to try in 300 characters actually say what you want to achieve in this goal. And I'm specifically saying 300 characters because the people who still remember the old way of doing text messages would know you'd have, I think it was 300 characters, and then you couldn't write more. So you'd have to write very succinct. So it's not like WhatsApp where you can really write half a paragraph there or a letter. We were limited to the time or the amount of words we could use. And characters is not 300 words. 300 words is a paragraph. So keeping it really simple of 300 characters, trying to say, what do you want to achieve? It's ideal to say, I want to achieve this by then, and this is how I will do it. So really looking at the 3 components, but not necessarily. It's always good to say, I want to have achieved this by then. And that takes a bit of fine tuning and a bit of filing sometimes to do that. So it's like your 60-second elevator pitch that you've all been obviously trained in. Very often when people ask you, what do? You very quickly share what you do. This is the same. It's like, this is my goal. And the more clear you are, the more focused you are on it, and the more you can quickly write it down somewhere on a sticky note, on a whiteboard, on your screensaver, on your laptops, wherever, whatever methodology you want to use to remind yourself, but you can see it short, snappy, and go, yep, that's my goal. Am I sticking to it? Have I moved away from it? So that's key, that you can continuously see that goal, and also then ask yourself, how am I doing against that goal? So it's no use to set goals and then only revisit them every 6 months. If you're setting goals that you want to achieve, it's having them very front of mind for you and then revisiting them every week or every 2 weeks to say, that's my goal. How am I doing against it? What have I done about it in the last 2 weeks? So that's key. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep reminding yourself. So that's the first strategy. The second strategy is to visualize the goal. Now, this is not suitable for everybody because not everybody has the ability to really visualize a goal, the final outcome. And with that comes the whole imagery, the sense of emotion, the feeling, who's going to be with me when I'm there, what are my surroundings going to be. So that's why I say some people are able to visualize it at that amount of detail and others are not. So it's not for everybody. But what is powerful if you can visualize it is that your brain is not able to differentiate between reality and that future visual. It hasn't got that cognitive function to discern that and say, oh, that is now and that is the future, so that's what we're moving towards. If the brain sees that image, it sees it as the truth and the reality, and it will move in that direction. So hence, it's a very powerful mind trick of actually, I don't want to say fool your brain, but you do in a way, to actually help that. And that helps with the goal setting. And if you think about it, a lot of the athletes or sports people do that. They go into a long period of visualization of their actual having achieved the race or holding up a trophy and just being the best that they can. Not always necessarily winning, but being the best that they can at the best time. That's like a visualization. So they will literally visualize this. They will go through the motions of the race, their emotions, their behavior, how they feel, how it works. They can literally go and pre-live this event in advance. And that is how they stick to their goals. That keeps them intrinsically motivated, and they have this natural emotional attachment to this goal, which drives them. So if that works for you, then try that. If you can visualize it, that's great. If you can't visualize it, use other aids, such as either cutting out an image that is similar to it. So you might see an image either in a magazine or on a digital platform where you say, yes, that's actually what I want. So keep that somewhere because that keeps on triggering your motivation to stay sticking to the goal. Or if you're very artistic, go and draw what that goal looks like, that you have prompts that you can instantaneously get connected to and go, yes, that's what it is. That's what I thrive for, and that's what drives me, and that's what keeps me going. So that's the second way of really sticking to goals. And the third one is no surprise. It's really such an old strategy of doing it, but maybe because it's so simple, we struggle with it, or we just don't find the right person. And it's all about having an accountability buddy. It's so crucial to have a person who checks in with you regularly to say, hey, how are you doing? You promised, or you committed, promise is the incorrect word, you committed to do this in 2 weeks' time or a week, whatever the time frame is. How are you doing with it? And then you would share where you have progressed with it. Why an accountability buddy works for us as adults is because we don't like to say to somebody, oh, I haven't had the time to do it and hence I didn't do it. So you'll make sure that you do it because you do want to report back your progress. Where if you have to hold yourself accountable, like I say earlier, the storytelling comes in, the excuses come in. If you have a good accountability buddy and you start bringing in excuses and storytelling, they'll actually hold you accountable on that and say, hey, this is a story, or this is an excuse, or this is whatever. What are you going to really do about this? Or is this goal still important? So you have to select your accountability buddies very carefully. Sometimes it is ideal to have your best friend, but sometimes if it's steep goals that they need more accountability, then choose somebody more disciplined, and always somebody who's got high level of self-discipline or high self-regulation are ideal accountability buddies. But you can't say you can't, but very seldom you'll have one accountability buddy for your entire life domain. That would be like hitting the lotto. Very often you'll have different accountability buddies for different things. So you might have somebody, an accountability buddy in sports for physical exercise, where it's either a person or a class or a trainer, a personal trainer who's waiting for you. And then you might have another accountability buddy for your business goals, and that might be somebody who's a more business orientated. And then you might have a different accountability buddy for whatever areas you want to work on, be that having more leisure, having more fun in your life, whatever goals you have decided to set, growing financial wealth, and so on and so forth. So your accountability buddies can be friends that you know or acquaintances, but they can also be professionals sometimes. So you could make it your a professional that you've chosen to use. It can be a coach, it can be a mentor, it can be an accountant, it can be your financial planner, it can be your personal trainer. It really doesn't matter, or a group that you belong to. But it's just super, super critical that you have an accountability buddy. And if you choose to have one that is in your personal surroundings, a friend, or in your network or in your social community, very often it's important that you reciprocate that, so that you can reciprocate the accountability for them. And again, if we think of the word accountability buddy, most of us go, oh, I don't have time for that. That sounds like a lot of time. Can't spend time with that. But very often we don't need more than 15 or 20 minutes of a weekly check-in to say, this is what I committed last week. How have I stacked up against it? Then go, okay, I didn't deliver as much as I wanted to, so I've got a week to pull up my socks. Or I actually shut the lights out and did all of that. And you can actually go 10 minutes you, 10 minutes me, and we're done. So it doesn't have to end up into a very long coffee session or chit chat or anything. So you can really be very disciplined on the time. I mean, if you want to make half an hour, of course, but it's not really that it's going to take that much time. And it's a good investment to do that half an hour, then not doing anything at all. So those are the 3 strategies of how to stick to your goals. Be specific, keep them short, put them anywhere that you can see them, sticky notes, laptop screens. Check in on them weekly and ask yourself, how have I done this week? Try and visualize your goal as much as you can. If not, try and get other visuals for it, photographs, magazine cutouts, digital prints, or draw if you need to. And then lastly, find a suitable accountability buddy. If you don't work out with somebody else, don't be disheartened. Choose somebody else that you really want to work with, because these 3 strategies result in success. So you need all the support you can to achieve the goals. And if the success is what you are really driving towards, then move into these three strategies. And the closing quote I want to leave you with on goals and sticking to them is, if you do the same thing over and over, you get the same results. So if you're not happy with your results, you've got to change what you are doing over and over. And these three strategies might be a solution for that. Thank you very much for tuning in, Nuts and Bolts listeners. I hope you have an amazing Friday. Enjoy the sunshine. Have a great weekend. Rest. And we will be seeing each other again next week, Friday, at the usual time of 9 p.m. Thank you so much and take good care. Bye-bye.